The rise of anti-white TikTokers? Blair White, what are you doing? Is she really branching out now from just transphobic turf pick-me type content to full-on racism? Or not even racism, but like, oh, white people are oppressed. God, could you imagine how awful it would be if people were like bigoted towards you for the color of your skin, that you can't change, that you were just born that way? But then on top of that, the people who thought that way held institutional power and could form laws that specifically targeted you and affected your life going back generations, hell, even hundreds of years? Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh my gosh, that'd be awful, huh?
Anti-white TikTok is crazy.
I don't give a about no white lives. All lives don't matter over here.
White Americans do not have culture or a true sense.
Yeah, I can already tell I'm not going to agree with any of the people she's going after in this video. It's just one of those, like, TikTok clip, low-hanging fruit type videos, which, you know, fair enough. But at the same time, while I don't believe that the definition of racism is prejudice plus power, that is to say that you need to be prejudiced against people because they are different, while also holding power to oppress them in some way, for it to be considered racism, I don't agree with that definition. It feels like a definition deliberately designed to make American white people not want to agree with it. It's like, okay, come on. But I do believe that it is kind of bitch-made to complain about racism against white people like it is as serious as racism is against groups that are actively held down on the basis of their race by institutional powers that be. It feels very silly to me.
Of identity.
I need you all as white people to uproot the deep-seated insecurity that you all have.
We should make a day, like every Thursday, where we just wake up and fuck up a white girl or a white boy. Just pick a little girl, snatch it out of her, little boy, snatch it out of him, old lady, white, whatever. We should set up a day once a week where we just fuck them up, y'all.
You know what? I feel like this video is gonna get me in so much trouble.
I mean, we all know what would happen if that went anywhere beyond being a joke, okay? Like, we can say, oh my god, why would he say that? And it's like, okay, sure, he shouldn't say that, but God forbid he ever takes that beyond it just being a joke in his TikTok video. We all know what would happen to that guy. It would not end well for him.
Well, I don't care. Anti-white TikTok is crazy. And no, I'm not talking about anti-Blair White TikTok. That's perhaps even nuttier. I like to talk about issues.
Yo! Was that a Blair Black reference? Oh my god. Chat. Oh my god, Queen! Queen! Blair White! Or sorry, Blair Black, my queen! Oh my gosh. What an absolute queen. So true.
On this channel that...
So true. How could somebody be racist? Blair White would never abide by racism. That is absolutely beyond the pale. Especially a racist joke. Oh my gosh. Beyond the pale in the eyes of Blair White. Her moral framework would never stand for it.
That are a bit ahead of their time, right? You know, I did it with the trans kid issue, the trans sports issue, talking about those things in like 2018. And everyone was commenting, this is not even a thing, this is not an issue. And then years later, it comes to a head and it's one of the, you know, leading political topics in the country. And everyone has to admit it's a thing. And anti-white racism is absolute.
Well, what was actually happening in 2018 was she had a massive audience of trans and gay people that were mostly teenagers. What a great pause face. From when she was doing, like, the makeup tea community stuff, that was kind of an era for her channel. She gained a lot of normies through that, progressive left-leaning normies, tried her hardest to red pill them as subtly as she could, while pretending to be, like, libertarian left, but towards the center. Got called out on lying about trans people she was trying to manufacture hate against multiple times when trying to make up this whole trans sports issue, such as with Janae Marie Kroc, where she had to make a tearful apology for lying when she got caught, you know, red-handed for trying to misrepresent these trans athletes for being something they're not. Very funny stuff. Blair White is a pathetic worm of a person. Also, I cannot explain to you guys how hilarious I find the shape of her mouth right now.
Absolutely one of the biggest problems in America right now. It's absolutely one of the biggest factors leading to the loss of social cohesion between the races, between just people in general, fellow Americans. It is undeniably bad. There is no group other than white people that you can go on social media and say the most heinous things, the most violent things about, and have no issues with your account, no social repercussions.
Indians. Yeah, pretty much your argument is completely destroyed the second you look at what everyone online right now is saying about Indians. You stupid influencer.
Concussions.
We should make a day, like every Thursday or every Wednesday where we just wake up and fuck up a white girl or a white boy. This pick, a little girl snatches out her, little boy snatches out of him, old lady, white, whatever. We should set up a day once a week where we just fuck them up, y'all.
It doesn't matter how many of us were indoctrinated with the millennial core, you know, only white people can be racist, that word can't apply to anybody else. We're over that. And for anybody who thinks that I don't have a right to talk
What is this, like, blaming woke on millennials trend that's blown up among the right in the last few months? It's so weird because as a Gen Zer, I really don't associate, like, the woke 1.0 movement with millennials. I guess the term woke certainly originates from millennial, like, progressives for sure, but what it became, what the, like, woke 1 movement, progressivism became, was nothing to do with the millennial brand of progressive politics necessarily. I feel like it was a very Gen Z college age fueled movement.
talk about this. Number one, I am a tax-paying American. I can talk about whatever I want. And also, according to 23andMe, I'm 3% black.
God.
So when a 3% black woman
Isn't, like, everybody, like, 1 to 3% sub-Saharan African? I'm pretty sure everybody is a little bit African, right? God, okay.
is speaking, you listen.
And right off the bat, man,
I'm way more Italian than she is sub-Saharan African, by the way, which makes me way blacker than Blair White, okay? Let's be completely clear here, all right? Because as we all know, you know, I think I speak for everyone, actually, when I say that Italians are black.
Carmelo, straight up, I don't give a about no white lives. All lives don't matter over here because on the daily, we get killed and ain't nobody got shit to say. But when one of ours is protecting themselves, they get ambushed, they get threats, they get all of this. Fuck that cracker, we smoking on that Austin Pat pussy. Like, I don't care anymore.
Is this a filter? I feel like there's countries where if you drew him, it would be a hate crime. If you've seen any...
Okay. You know what's interesting about the Carmelo Anthony thing? I actually did not look deep enough into it when I first did my coverage. I just kind of looked at the very basic surface level of, okay, teenager gets into a fight with another teenager and then stabs said teenager to death and then gets sentenced to first-degree murder, gets 35 years in prison. It all seems very cut and dry, like settled situation, right? So where are these allegations of racism coming from? It just seemed weird, right? So I do a follow-up video and I look deeper into the story. Come to find out that Austin Metcalf's dad, I think it was John Metcalf, he was, or James Metcalf maybe, he was going on these insane racist rants talking about how black people should be grateful that slavery happened to bring them to America, called Carmelo Anthony the watermelon felon, and just went on a bunch of, like, boomer-ass racist rants. Jeff Metcalf, thank you. So once I saw that, I quickly understood why so many black people in America are concerned about the lack of media attention to that fact, the way that the family is being portrayed as just this, you know, squeaky clean, grieving family. Meanwhile, there were no black jurors whatsoever on Carmelo Anthony's jury. And you may be wondering why that matters. I certainly did wonder about it. The reason why it matters is because in the state of Texas, for first-degree murder to be determined, to be agreed upon, the entire jury has to unanimously agree on first-degree murder as a charge. First-degree murder is a very serious charge. That's why he got 35 years in prison, which is insane for the kind of killing this was. I'm not making excuses for it, but to be clear, we have different degrees of charges for different kinds of murder or killing for a reason. Because there's a difference between guy planning out a killing of a specific person for weeks and then trying to premeditate how to get away with it and, like, hide the body and everything. That is undeniably, unequivocally first-degree murder and gets the harshest of penalties. But, like, guy gets into a fist fight with another guy drunk at the bar and accidentally kills the other dude, you might get a manslaughter charge, or maybe, like, the lowest murder charge possible, just because there wasn't intent behind it, right? So, in a situation like Carmelo Anthony's, where a fist fight escalated to death because a weapon was pulled out, it's definitely a serious murder charge that was justified, but a first-degree murder charge is insane. And what really made the difference is the fact that all that needed to happen for him not to get hit with first degree was for one juror to say no to first-degree murder as a charge. And there were no black jurors. Not a single black juror survived jury selection. I can kind of see why it got to be a thing.
Anything about the Carmelo Anthony trial, which I just did a video on my second channel. You can go watch for my complete feelings on the Carmelo Anthony trial and verdict. So we won't go into all that, but the amount of hatred coming out of a unfortunately sizable segment of the black community, all because, you know, a young black male was put in prison or will be put in prison for taking a life. I mean, it's really...
Notice how she framed what the black community is angry about compared to what I told you guys. What I did was meticulously explain to you what happened and why people are mad. Now she frames it as they're mad because a black teenager who murdered somebody went to prison. The purposeful reduction of as much detail as possible in order to try and make your argument sound better without making any substantive claims to back up your argument. Mind you, her argument isn't Carmelo Anthony should go to prison. We all agree Carmelo Anthony should go to prison. Her argument is there was no validity whatsoever to the black community feeling that racism played a part in the severity of Carmelo Anthony's sentencing. And the basis of more severe sentencing based on nothing but race and racial bias in the courtroom has been a foundational point in black liberation movements to point out in our criminal justice system for a long time. So trying to deny it here is the prerogative of the right.
Really insane. And the amount of anti-white hatred launched at his family. I mean, it's demonic to even say out loud, but they like defaced the grave of the victim, Austin Metcalf. So, you know, this is something that there is no social ramifications for. Again, this person is not getting banned off TikTok. And if you don't...
I mean, neither are you, Blair. Like, what do you mean? There's no social ramifications for anything online right now. Everyone can post, like, full-on Nazi shit, and it's fine. Everyone can post, like, anti-whitey shit, and it's fine. None of these platforms care anymore. If anything, the people getting suppressed are, like, more reasonable, middle ground, like, Democrat, like, aligned outlets on the orders of Donald Trump. But, like, of course stuff like this isn't getting suppressed. This shit on the other end isn't getting suppressed either. You put a guy like Chud the Builder out there screaming the N-word, and he's going viral on social media. The only reason he got in trouble was he shot somebody. If he didn't go out there with a gun and shoot somebody, he'd still be out there screaming the N-word at people, making tons of money doing it too.
Think that's toxic, if you don't think that's insidious, and if you think that we can live in a world where there's a certain amount of people that are minorities that feel this way, that's a really big problem. And you can downplay it all you want, you can ignore it all you want. This is a lot of people, as we're going to continue to see here.
I'm desperately asking white people to understand the gravity of what is happening right now and do something about it, because you all are the only ones that can get us out of this shit. I don't want to hear about how hard it is. I don't want to hear that you don't think it's possible. I don't want to hear how difficult white people are. I don't want to hear about anything other than what you are going to do about it. I don't want to hear none of that, because you can do something about that. But I need you to be creative, and I need you all as white people to uproot the deep-seated insecurity that you all have that is driving white.
You're in psychosis, babe. These people always speak in...
No, she's not. No, she's not. This particular clip, the only reason that she selected it is because this person has short purple hair. That is the only reason this clip got selected. Everything said here is completely reasonable. It's actually one of the more compassionate, like, sort of racially essentialist videos I've seen. Usually when you get like a super race essentialist video like this, where it's like, white people, I've got a message for you, and then it's a message for Trump supporters, and it's like, well, not every white person supports Trump, but okay. Usually when I see those types of posts, they kind of make me cringe, but this one was probably one of the more reasonable and compassionate out there, because at least the people that she is speaking of that it applies to, she's dead on. She is spot on about those people.
The abstract about white people need to do something, white people need to fix what? Like, they never actually outline what's going on. Because you go in the specifics and you realize it's all BS. But it's like, it's crazy how you can expect more of white people. I'm just gonna say it. I think I can speak for every race and say that, you know, we would expect a little more of y'all too. There's
God, I hate the way that Blair makes a point and then goes, like, let me really lock in for this. We expect a lot from you too. So like, do something about it. Where's that come from? There's got to be some sector of the internet that comes from, that weird, like, fluttering eyelashes after making a point. Is that some spill the tea type thing? Where's that from? Is that just a thing that, like, bimbos do? Zan's Blair impression is spot on. Boondocks? Was there a bit making fun of that in Boondocks? If so, I need to watch it immediately after stream.
A lot of things going on in the Black community that negatively impact every race, everybody's community, that are specifically, you know, issues in that community, the Black community. So are we allowed to say we expect more of y'all too? How about white people will do more when y'all tone down a little bit of the children out of wedlock, a little bit of the violence, a little bit of the crime.
Okay.
If we can turn that down a notch, maybe we can give something back. And it's a crazy.
Okay, great. So we're just gonna pretend this is very much like that one Wojak meme where it's or not the Wojak meme, that one drawing though, where it's the guy saying, "No more, all right, libtards, we're done playing nice." And then it's Hitler pulling off the mask that was also Hitler. That's what she's doing right now. Ah, yes, you guys are just repeating the same nonsense you've been saying for 15 years, that systemic racism doesn't exist, and black people are at a disadvantage from white people in America because reasons. Usually ones that involve blaming black people for something that, by implication, they can say is inherent to black people, and no fault of any external oppression, no fault of any external societal, structures or systems, just inherent.